Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that nothing in your life will truly change until you do. Not the job, not the city, not the people around you. You, that's the truth. Most people spend their whole lives avoiding stay. They wait for the world to shift while their dreams quietly fade in the background. But what if the turning point you've been waiting for isn't a moment out there? What if it's a decision, a silent one made deep within you, to finally lead your own life? This audiobook is about chasing perfection. It's about choosing direction. It's about ending the cycle of waiting and realizing that success doesn't arrive. It's built one decision, one action, one honest day at a time. Because your life won't change when things around you get better. Your life changes the moment you decide to become better yourself. So take a breath. Let this be your wake-up moment, because from this point forward, everything begins with you. Look around your life for a moment. Every result you see, good, bad, is a reflection of your choices. That's not always easy to accept, because it means the things that went wrong weren't just bad luck. They were signals, messages from life itself, whispering. This is what happens when you stop leading yourself. Most people spend their whole lives waiting. Waiting for the right time, waiting for motivation, waiting for things to fall into place. But waiting is a silent trap. It gives away your power. It convinces you that life is happening to you instead of happening because of you. True growth begins the moment you stop waiting and start taking ownership. Ownership of your time, your mindset, your habits, your energy. Because once you take full responsibility, you realize something powerful. If your decisions created this reality, your new decisions can create a better one. There's a quiet strength in saying, I'm responsible. It's not about guilt or self-blame. It's about control. It's the moment you stop pointing fingers. Start taking the wheel. You can't rewrite yesterday, but you can decide how the next chapter is written. You can't undo old mistakes, but you can outgrow them. And you can't control what others do, but you can always control how you respond. That's the beginning of maturity, the shift from reaction to creation. Maybe life didn't turn out the way you hoped. Maybe opportunities slipped away, or people let you down. But ask yourself honestly, how long will you keep replaying that story? At what point do you stand up and decide that you've had enough of being stuck? Change doesn't start when life gets easier. It starts when you decide to face what's difficult. When you stop expecting someone else to fix it. When you stop saying it's not my fault and start saying it's still my responsibility, because that single mental shift turns helplessness into power. It transforms frustration into direction. It changes your story from why me to watch me. Ownership is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It's in the small choices. Waking up when you said you would day. Keeping promises no one else would notice. Choosing focus over distraction. It's in how you talk to yourself when things go wrong. Do you fall into self-pity? Or do you say, I'll handle it? Taking ownership doesn't mean you're never tired. It doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you stay responsible, even when you are. You keep your standards high, even when no one's watching. Because that's when character is built, in the quiet moments, when no applause is waiting. Think about this. If your time is being wasted, take it back. If your energy is being drained, protect it. If your goals are being ignored, prioritize them. If your habits are out of control, rebuild them. You are not powerless. You are just undirected. Every day, life gives you thousands of decisions, tiny forks in the road that shape your future. And each time you choose to delay, to avoid, to blame, give away a little more of your potential. But when you decide to take ownership, you reclaim all of it. You begin to rebuild your confidence, your focus, your sense of direction. That's why ownership isn't punishment. It's freedom. The moment you stop blaming, You stop waiting, and the moment you stop waiting, you start living. You might think, but I don't know where to start. That's okay. Start with honesty. Be brutally honest with yourself about how you're living. Look at your routines, your distractions, your excuses, what's helping you grow, and what's quietly holding you back. Change doesn't need a grand gesture. It begins with small acts of self-respect. Waking up on time, following through, saying no when you need to, saying yes when it scares you. Each small decision is a brick, and those bricks become the foundation of your best self. Remember this truth. You can't outsource your transformation. No mentor, no course, no partner can live your discipline for you. People guide you, but no one can walk for you. The path is built under your own feet, and that's what makes it real. When you take full ownership, you stop living on autopilot, you stop waiting for things to happen. You start designing your life with intention, with awareness, with courage. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But that discomfort is proof that you're changing, proof that you're alive, proof that you're taking your power back. Every day you delay ownership. You delay progress. But every day you live with intention. You grow stronger, more grounded, more capable. This is what real success looks like. Not perfection, not luck, just consistent honesty, daily effort, and the quiet pride of knowing you showed up for yourself. So, take a deep breath. Look at where you are. And remember, you are not behind. You're just one honest decision away from a completely different life. You already know what needs to be done. You've known it for a long time. That project you've been putting off. That call you keep delaying. That habit you said you'd start tomorrow. They're all waiting. Not for the right time, but for you to finally decide. Most people think the problem is lack of motivation, but the real problem is avoidance. It's easier to plan than to begin. Easier to think about change than to live it. Easier to scroll, to wait, to hope, than to simply stand up and move. But here's the truth. Your future doesn't care how you feel right now, only responds to what you do. Action is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become, and that bridge will never appear until you start walking. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need all the answers. You don't even need confidence. Confidence is built through action, not before it. The ones who grow, the ones who change, the ones who succeed, they all have one thing in common. They move forward, even when it's uncomfortable, because discomfort is not your enemy. It's the sound of your own self-breaking. And that's exactly what growth feels like. Every time you hesitate, you teach your mind that fear is in control. Every time you act, you remind it that you are. So stop waiting for the right moment. It doesn't exist. Life won't pause for you to catch up. If you keep waiting until things calm down, you'll spend your whole life waiting. The moment you decide to act, that's when life begins to move with you, not against you. Think about this. Every successful person you admire starts with a single decision. Not when they felt ready, not when they were confident, but when they were tired of being stuck. They stopped negotiating with their excuses. They stopped waiting for permission. They simply began. That's the difference between trying and doing. Trying means you're still debating. Doing means you've already chosen. Doing what needs to be done isn't about heroism or discipline that never fades. It's about small, consistent follow-through, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. It's waking up and saying, I may not feel like it, but I'll do it anyway. It's showing up for yourself the same way you show up for others. It's honoring your own word as if it were a promise you can't break. Start with something simple. Clean your space. Clear your schedule. Turn off the noise that keeps you distracted. Write down one thing that must be done today, and do it before anything else. That's how momentum is built. Not from intensity, but from consistency. Not from giant leaps, but from small steps taken every single day. And when you do that, something begins to shift inside you. You start trusting yourself again. You start believing in your own power. You stop waiting for others to validate your effort. You realize, I don't need to be told what to do. I already know what needs to be done. But let's be real. Some days you'll feel tired. Some days your progress will be invisible. Some days you'll want to quit. That's normal. Growth is not a straight line. It's a cycle of falling, standing and rising again. You'll make mistakes. You'll break routines. But that doesn't mean you failed. It means you're still in motion, and motion, even imperfect motion, will always beat stagnation. There's a quiet pride in doing what you said you'd do. No applause, no spotlight, just the calm knowing that you honored your word. That's the kind of pride that builds strength. That's the kind of integrity that reshapes your identity. And once you build that trust with yourself, you'll never want to break it again. You'll stop chasing motivation. You'll start chasing progress. So here's your challenge. Stop looking for the perfect mood. Start moving in the right direction. Pick one area of your life that needs your attention and handle it, even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if no one sees it, because those unseen actions become the unseen foundation of your future success. Do what needs to be done, not someday when it's easy, but now, because life rewards those who act, not those who wait. Every time you follow through, you rewrite the story of who you are. You stop being the person who almost started and become the person who finishes. That's where freedom lives. That's where confidence grows. That's where success begins, inside quiet moments of courage, where no one claps, but everything changes. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. If your mind feels cluttered, your life will too. If your thoughts are chaotic, your days will follow that same rhythm. You don't need more noise. You need clarity. And clarity starts by cleaning the space within you, the habits, the thoughts, and the patterns that quietly decide who you become. Every single day, you are building or breaking yourself through small invisible choices. The phone you reach for when you wake up, the words you repeat in your head, the habits you say are no big deal. They all shape your direction. And when you don't stop to examine them, they begin to run your life without permission. It's not one big mistake that holds you back. It's the small repeated patterns that you've stopped noticing, the ones that quietly whisper, "This is just who I am." But that's not true. That's just who you've practiced being. And anything practiced can be unlearned. Start small. Take inventory of your life. Ask yourself without judgment, what am I allowing that no longer serves me? Maybe it's a habit. Maybe it's a belief. Maybe it's a routine that drains your energy every day. Whatever it is, name it. Because until you name it, you can't change it. Awareness is the first act of cleaning. You can't heal what you refuse to see. You can't improve what you keep avoiding. Look around your physical space too. Is it calm or chaotic? Does it support your focus or distract you from it? Because how you keep your environment reflects how you keep your mind. A cluttered room often hides a cluttered heart. A disorganized desk often mirrors disorganized thoughts. Cleaning up your surroundings isn't about being neat. It's about reclaiming control. It's about saying, I deserve to live in clarity. When you remove the physical noise, you make space for mental stillness. When your space is clean, your thoughts breathe easier, but inner cleaning goes deeper. It's not just about your environment, it's about your energy. Ask yourself, who and what are you giving your energy to? Are you surrounded by people who lift you or people who drain you? Are your conversations filled with purpose or just repetition of old worries? Are you spending hours on things that numb your mind instead of nourish your soul? Energy once given doesn't return the same. You have to be selective. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everyone earns your peace. Start by removing emotional clutter, old grudges, unfinished comparisons, stories you keep replaying about who hurt you or how things should have been. Those are mental weights. And the longer you hold them, the heavier they get. You don't have to forget the past. You just have to stop feeding it. You can learn from it without living in it. Free your mind from what's over, because you can't build a new chapter if you're still cleaning up the last one. Then look at your thoughts. How do you talk to yourself when no one is listening? Do your thoughts build you or break you? Do they make you feel lighter or smaller? The voice in your head becomes the atmosphere of your life, so be careful with your words, especially the silent ones. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," try, "I'm learning how." Instead of, "I've failed too many times," try, "I'm still becoming." Your mind believes what you repeat. So give it something worth believing. Cleaning your inner space isn't a one-time ritual. It's a lifestyle. Every day you collect new dust, distractions, doubts, small frustrations, and every day you must clear them out before they build up. That means setting boundaries. That means choosing stillness over stimulation. That means stepping away from chaos, even if it's familiar. Don't confuse busyness with purpose. Don't mistake noise for progress. True progress is quiet. It feels calm. It feels grounded. And remember, you can't invite peace into a space that's full of clutter. You must create room for it. If your mind is always running, start with 5 minutes of stillness. If your emotions feel tangled, write them down. If your energy feels scattered, breathe slow, deep, intentional breaths. That's how you reset. That's how you return to yourself. Every time you clean your inner space, you reclaim your focus. You strengthen your presence. You build a life that feels lighter, clearer, and deeply yours. And as your inner world becomes clean, your outer world will follow. Your goals will feel simpler. Your habits will feel sharper. Your path will feel brighter. Because when your mind is clear, your direction always is too. So today, take a moment, look around, look within, ask yourself what needs to be cleared right now, then act on it. Delete the distraction, let go of the resentment, reorganize your environment, breathe out the heaviness you no longer need. Because every time you clean your space, inside or out, you remind yourself of a truth too many forget. You are not stuck. You are simply surrounded by too much noise. Remove the noise, and your next step becomes obvious. Every day you face a choice to grow or to stay comfortable. Comfort feels good. It's familiar, safe. But comfort is also quiet decay. It slowly steals your potential, one easy decision at a time. Growth, on the other hand, is rarely comfortable. It asks more from you. It stretches your limits. It demands discipline when your mind wants rest, and courage when fear whispers not today. But that's the price of becoming your best self. You can't have both comfort and growth. You must choose. Most people choose the path of least resistance. They repeat the same routines, stay in the same patterns, and call it peace. But peace without progress is just slow surrender. Real peace comes from knowing you're moving towards something meaningful, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable. Because the truth is, you won't grow when life is easy. You grow when you push through resistance. You grow when you choose to do the hard thing again and again until it becomes your new normal. Growth feels uncomfortable because it challenges your identity. It forces you to let go of the version of yourself that was satisfied with less. And letting go of comfort isn't just physical, it's emotional. It means breaking habits that once gave you relief. It means setting boundaries that make others uncomfortable. It means saying no to things that no longer align with your purpose. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. You're not rejecting the world. You're just choosing not to stay stuck in it. Think about it. Comfort says, You're fine where you are. Growth says, can do more than this. One whispers reassurance. The other calls you out, and only one of them will lead you somewhere new. You don't need to hate comfort. You just need to stop worshipping it. Because comfort isn't the goal. It's the test. It shows up every day asking if you'll choose the easy thing or the right thing. Every time you choose growth, you build strength. Not the loud kind, the quiet, grounded kind that makes you unstoppable. When you wake up early instead of sleeping in, you grow. You speak your truth instead of staying silent. You grow. When you take the step you've been avoiding, you grow. Every small decision against comfort is a seed of transformation. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly, through discipline, through honesty, through choices that no one else sees. But be prepared. Growth is messy. It's uncertain. It will challenge your patience, your focus, your ego. You'll want to quit. You'll want to return to comfort. And that's normal because the mind loves the familiar, even when it hurts you. But remember, you weren't built for easy. You were built for evolution. You were not designed to live small, to repeat the same day forever. You were meant to outgrow your fears, to outgrow your excuses, to outgrow the old version of you who needed comfort to feel safe. The next time you're faced with a choice between what feels easy and what feels right, pause, ask yourself, which option helps me grow? Then choose that, even if it scares you, even if it's inconvenient, even if no one else understands, because your comfort zone will always whisper reasons to stay, but your future self is waiting for you to move. And here's the paradox. The more you choose growth, the more comfortable it becomes. Discomfort stops feeling like pain. It starts feeling like purpose. You begin to crave challenge. You begin to respect the process. You start to see how far you've come. Not because things got easier, but because you got stronger. That's when you realize growth was never the enemy. It was the invitation. So take a deep breath. Look at where comfort has been keeping you small. Ask yourself, what am I still clinging to? Because it feels safe. Then let it go. Let the fear of discomfort dissolve. Let the tension become your teacher. Let progress replace perfection. Because the person you dream of becoming lives on the other side of comfort. You'll never meet them if you keep choosing what's easy. Growth is not a destination. It's a decision you make daily. To rise when you could rest, to show up when you could hide, to move forward even when you could stay still. So choose growth today, and again tomorrow, and again the day after that. And one day you'll look back and realize that all those hard choices weren't punishments, they were proof. Proof that you were brave enough to become your best self. The real test of character doesn't happen in front of others. It happens in silence, in the quiet spaces where no one sees, no one claps, and no one is keeping score. That's where discipline lives. That's where integrity grows. That's where the person you say you are meets the person you actually are. It's easy to look consistent when people are watching. It's easy to act motivated when someone expects results. But what about the moments when it's just you and your promises? Those moments reveal everything. When no one will know whether you showed up or not. When you could skip the work and no one would notice. When you could make an excuse and get away with it. That's when your true standards appear. That's when you either build trust with yourself or quietly break it. Accountability isn't about fear of judgment. It's about alignment with truth. It's the choice to live in a way that matches your words. When you say, I'll do it, and you actually do, even if no one sees it, you build something sacred. Internal credibility. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. But it's powerful, because when your word means something to you, you don't need external validation anymore. You become self-led, unshakable. We live in a world obsessed with appearance, with sharing progress, with posting results. But the strongest people don't always share everything they do. They don't need to prove it. They build in silence. They train in silence. They grow in silence because they understand that real accountability isn't about being seen. It's about being solid. When you can trust yourself in private, you become unstoppable. Public. Let's be honest, we all have moments when we cut corners, moments when we say, "It's fine, I'll skip it just this once." And maybe no one else notices, but you do. Your subconscious remembers. It keeps a record. Each time you break your own standard, you teach yourself that your word isn't worth much. And that small fracture slowly weakens your foundation. The opposite is also true. Each time you keep your word, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's hard, you send a powerful message to your brain. I can rely on me. That's how confidence is built. Not from praise, but from proof. Accountability in silence isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. You'll fall short sometimes. You'll miss a step. But what matters is whether you correct yourself without needing to be told. That's growth. That's leadership. That's maturity. Because leadership isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. And self-mastery isn't a show. It's a practice. Quiet, daily, unseen. So, how do you build accountability when no one's watching? Start simple. 1. Keep one promise today. Doesn't matter how small. Wake up when you said you would. Finish the task you've been delaying. Follow through on your word. That's integrity in motion. 2. Track your habits privately. Not to impress others, to measure your honesty. Write it down. Be your own witness. 3. Reflect each night. Ask yourself, did I live like the person I said I want to be? If not, don't criticize, adjust. Try again tomorrow. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about alignment. Accountability in silence isn't glamorous. It's not designed for applause. It's slow. It's repetitive. It's often lonely. But it's also where self-respect is born. Because when you live in alignment, you stop feeling like a fraud. You stop chasing motivation. You start feeling peace, a quiet confidence that says, I'm doing what I said I would do. Feeling is worth more than any compliment because it doesn't fade. And soon you start to notice something. The external world begins to reflect the discipline you built in private. Opportunities appear, respect grows, people begin to trust you, not because of what you say, but because they can feel your consistency. You attract what you embody, and when you embody discipline, you attract trust, you attract respect, you attract results. That's the paradox. The more you focus on quiet consistency, the louder your life becomes. So tonight, as you prepare for tomorrow, remember this. No one is watching, but your future self is. They're waiting to see whether you'll choose comfort or commitment, whether you'll do what's easy or what's right. And every small act of integrity is a message sent forward in time saying, I showed up, even when no one was looking. True strength doesn't need witnesses, it needs honesty. And the most powerful promise you can ever make is the one you keep with yourself. Because success doesn't start with applause, it starts in silence. In the quiet discipline of showing up day after day for the life you said you'd build. Who do you want to become? Not in theory, not someday, but specifically, what does your best self look like, think like, act like when no one's around? Take a moment, picture that version of you. They're calm, confident, consistent, focused. They don't waste time. They don't second-guess their worth. Move through life with quiet certainty. Now ask yourself, what if that version isn't somewhere in the future? What if they're already inside you waiting for you to start acting like them? Becoming your best self isn't about waiting for transformation. It's about embodying it now. Because identity isn't something you discover. It's something you decide. You don't become confident and then act confident. You act confident and then you become it. You don't wait until you're Discipline to follow through. You follow through, and discipline grows from repetition. You don't wait for your future self to appear. You create them through the choices you make today. Think of it this way: every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. When you choose to stay focused, you're casting a vote for your future self. When you choose patience over frustration, you're casting another. When you choose progress over excuses, you're building the foundation of who you'll be tomorrow. It doesn't happen overnight, but over time, those small votes shape your identity. Most people think they'll change once their life gets better, but the truth is, your life gets better once you change. Your habits create your direction creates your identity, and your identity creates your future. If you act like the same person every day, you'll keep living the same life every day. But if you start acting like the person you want to be, you start becoming them, moment by moment. This isn't pretending, it's alignment. Pretending is fake. Alignment is truth expressed early. When you live as your future self now, you're not lying to the world, you're leading it. You're teaching your brain what's normal for you. And once your mind believes it's possible, it begins building proof. It starts filtering opportunities. It starts rewiring habits. It starts to make your future feel natural. Let's make it real. Imagine two versions. You waking up tomorrow. Version 1 hits snooze, scrolls for 30 minutes, complains about how tired they are, and rushes into the day feeling behind. Version 2 wakes up, takes a breath, stretches, writes a small goal for the morning, and steps into the day with intention. Now, who do you think is closer to the life they want? It's not magic, it's identity in action. Every single morning, you're casting a vote for the person you'll become, and no one can cast that vote but you. Becoming your future self is about waiting for motivation. It's about normalizing the habits that match your future identity. If your future self is calm, start practicing stillness now. If your future self is financially free, start respecting your money now. If your future self is healthy, start treating your body with care now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for external validation. Start where you are with what you have and act like you already are who you want to be. Because the brain doesn't need to see results to start believing. It needs to see consistency. Ask yourself this: what would my future self thank me for today? Would they thank you for staying disciplined, or for procrastinating, for setting boundaries, or for people-pleasing, for investing your time wisely, or for wasting it on distractions? Every decision is a conversation between who you are and who you're becoming, and your future self is watching, waiting for you to step up. The secret to transformation is identity alignment. Stop saying, "I want to change." Start saying, "This is who I am now." The moment you shift that language, your brain follows, your habits follow, your energy follows, because identity is the strongest motivator of all. When you believe you are that kind of person, you'll act accordingly, naturally, consistently, without forcing it. So pause for a second. Picture your future self again, the calm, disciplined, radiant version of you who's already living with purpose. Now take a deep breath and invite them in. How would they sit? How would they speak? How would they think? React. Walk through this exact day, then do that today, right now. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to start living like you already belong in the life you dream of. Because once you act like your future self, the future starts acting like you. Every step, every choice, every small act of integrity moves you closer to the version of you you've always imagined. And one morning, you'll wake up and realize you're no longer pretending you've become it. Time, it's the one resource you can't earn back. You can rebuild wealth, you can repair relationships, you can restart dreams, but you can never recover a single lost hour. That's why mastering your time isn't just about productivity, it's about respect, because every hour you spend is a piece of your life you'll never get again. Most people don't lose time in one big event. They lose it quietly, 10 minutes here, half an hour there. One more scroll. One more distraction. One more, I'll do it later. Time doesn't vanish. It converts. Every second turns into something: progress or regret, fulfillment or frustration. The question is never where did the time go. The real question is what did I trade it for? If you want to change your life, you must first change how you spend your time. Because time is more than minutes and hours. It's energy, focus and direction. When your time has purpose, your life gains momentum. When your time is wasted, your confidence fades. People who grow aren't always the smartest or the luckiest. They're simply the ones who stop treating time like something cheap. They don't give their hours away to things that drain them. They invest them in things that move them. Here's a truth that's hard to hear. If you don't plan your time, someone else will use it for you. Distractions, notifications, endless requests, they all compete for your attention. And every yes you give is a no to something that matters. So, learn to say no calmly, clearly, confidently, not because you're cold, but because your purpose deserves protection. Every boundary you set is a declaration of self-respect. It says, my time has meaning. Start small. Track one day of your life honestly. What are you doing with your hours? How much of your day actually builds you, and how much of it is autopilot filled with low-value habits that feel busy but lead nowhere? Awareness is the first step to mastery, because you can't fix what you don't see. Once you know where your time goes, you'll begin to see opportunities, moments you can reclaim, routines you can reshape, distractions you can delete. That's when real control begins. Time mastery is not about doing more, it's about doing less, but better. Most people confuse movement with progress. They chase busyness like it's an achievement, but busyness is the enemy of clarity. When you fill every moment, you leave no space for thought, no space for creativity, no space for growth. The goal is not to stay busy. The goal is to stay aligned. Do fewer things but give each of them your full attention. That's how average hours become extraordinary results. Ask yourself every morning what would make today meaningful. Not perfect, not easy, just meaningful. When you start with meaning, you stop reacting and start directing. Protect the first hour of your day. Make it sacred. Knockouts, no scrolling, no noise. Use it to center yourself, to breathe. A plan, reflect, and align your focus. Because how you begin your day shapes everything that follows. A calm start builds a calm mind, and a calm mind moves mountains quietly. But mastering time also means mastering transitions. The spaces between tasks, the moments where you drift, the seconds when you reach for your phone just to escape discomfort. Those are the moments that steal your future. Don't underestimate them. They may seem small, but they add up, and they define the difference between almost and done. Train yourself to notice those gaps, to breathe instead of distract, to return instead of escape. That's real discipline. Not in the big moments, but in the quiet, invisible ones. Every hour you spend is a message to your future. It says, this is what matters to me. So, what are you telling your future right now? That you're serious about growth, or that you're okay with drifting? Be honest, because your calendar doesn't lie. It always reflects your priorities. If you want to know what truly matters to you, don't look at your words. Look at your schedule. You don't need more time. You need more intention. 10 focused minutes are worth more than 2 distracted hours. 1 hour of deep work is worth more than a full day of scattered energy. The key is presence. When you are fully present, time expands. You feel it differently. You use it differently. Presence turns ordinary hours into momentum, and momentum turns effort into transformation. Remember this. You can't control time, but you can control attention. And where your attention goes, your life follows. Attention is your steering wheel. If it's always pulled toward noise, your life will drift into chaos. But if you hold it steady on growth, on purpose, on calm, your direction becomes clear. That's how you master time. Not through speed, through clarity. Let's be honest, you won't get it perfect every day. You'll waste time sometimes. You'll fall off track. You'll slip into old habits. That's okay. Awareness brings you back. Discipline keeps you steady. Consistency builds the results. Every day is another chance to realign with your priorities. You don't need to start over. You just need to start again. Here's a question to end with. If your time were currency, would you still spend it the way you do? Would you give your best hours to distractions? Would you trade your mornings for scrolling? Would you waste your focus on things that don't move you forward? Or would you protect it, invest it in the life you actually want to live? Time is not your enemy. It's your mirror. It shows you every day who you are choosing to be. So stop saying, I don't have time. You have the same hours as everyone else. The real question is, what will I do with mine? Because how you spend your time is how you spend your life. And every moment you use wisely builds a future that feels calm, strong, and fully yours. There comes a point in every journey where the path forward disappears until you're willing to look backward, not to dwell, but to understand. That moment is when growth becomes real. Because no matter how much you plan, how much you read, how much you achieve, you can't move forward if you're still running from your own truth. We live in a world full of noise. It's easy to get lost in movement, to chase distractions and call it productivity. To post, to plan, to perform, but never to pause. And in all that noise, we lose the most important connection of all, the one we have with ourselves. Facing your truth is the act of returning to that connection. It's not about perfection, it's about honesty. It's about standing in front of the mirror of your life and saying, this is where I really am. Not where you wish you were, not where you pretend to be, just here now. But honesty is uncomfortable. That's why most people avoid it, because truth doesn't flatter. It confronts. It points out the patterns you keep repeating. It whispers the things you already know but don't want to admit. It tells you truth about your habits, your fears, your distractions, and the stories you keep telling yourself to avoid changing. And that kind of honesty takes courage. To face your truth is to look at the gap between who you are and who you could be, without judgment, without shame, but with responsibility. Because you can't fix what you won't face. You can't heal what you keep denying. And you can't build a better life while hiding behind excuses. That's why self-honesty isn't another concept. It's the foundation of transformation. Every breakthrough begins with truth, not inspiration, not motivation, just raw, unfiltered awareness. Ask yourself right now, what am I pretending not to know? What truth am I avoiding? Because it would require change. Where am I out of alignment with the person I say I want to be? These are not comfortable questions, but they are necessary, because growth doesn't start with more effort. It starts with more honesty. Once you face your truth, clarity replaces confusion. Energies guilt. Action becomes simple. It's not weakness to admit you've been wrong. It's strength. It's strength to say, I haven't been giving my best. It's strength to say, I've been avoiding what matters. It's strength to say, I can do better, and I will. Honesty doesn't break you. It frees you when you tell yourself the truth. You stop living in reaction. You stop waiting for circumstances to change. Stop handing away your power, because truth puts the control back in your hands. Most people spend years building stories around their fears. They tell themselves, I'm not ready. I don't have time. I'll change when things calm down. But those are not truths. They're shields. They're comfort zones disguised as logic. And every time you repeat them, you make the cage stronger. The truth is simpler. You're capable now. You're just scared. You're waiting for certainty in a world that will never give it to you. But freedom doesn't come from safety. It comes from honesty. When you face your truth, you start seeing through the noise. You realize that not everything deserves your attention. Not every opportunity aligns with your path. Not every person belongs in your future. You stop chasing validation and start choosing alignment. You stop trying to look right and start living real. That's when your energy shifts. You stop forcing. You start flowing. You begin to feel lighter because you're no longer carrying the weight of pretending. Facing the truth also means forgiveness. Forgiving yourself for the times you stayed quiet, for the chances you didn't take, for the years you spent hiding from your own potential. You didn't fail. You were learning, you were becoming aware, and awareness is never wasted. Now you know better. Now you can do better. Self-forgiveness is not about erasing the past. It's about releasing its grip on your present. You are not the mistakes you've made. You are the person who learned from them. To live in truth is to stop negotiating with your excuses. It's to stop waiting for the perfect moment. It's to stop blaming your circumstances and start leading your response. When you tell yourself the truth, you stop spinning stories about why you can't. You start asking, how can I? That's when growth begins, in that simple shift from avoidance to action. And yes, truth can hurt at first. It can shake your comfort. It can make you question everything. But that pain is not destruction. It's detox. It's the shedding of illusions that never served you. After the discomfort fades, what remains is peace. A quiet kind of peace that comes only when you stop lying to yourself. Because peace doesn't come from having everything perfect. It comes from being real. So take a breath, be still for a moment, and ask yourself gently, what am I hiding from? What would happen if I stopped pretending everything is fine and started being honest about what needs to change? You don't need to have the full plan. You just need to start with truth. Because once you face it, everything else becomes clear. Remember, truth isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's not about guilt. It's about growth. It's not about shame. It's about strength. The moment you stop running from yourself is the moment your power returns. The moment you face your truth is the moment your future begins. So look in the mirror, not with judgment, but with honesty. Whisper to yourself, I see you and I'm ready to grow. Because the truth isn't your enemy. It's your way home. You've heard enough. You've read enough. You've planned enough. Now it's time to prove it with action. Because change doesn't start when you talk about it. It doesn't start when you write it down or when you feel inspired for 5 minutes. Change begins when you move. When you take one small, deliberate step in the direction of the person you say you want to become. Most people live trapped between two worlds, the world of intention and the world of execution. They dream big. They talk about what's coming someday, but someday never arrives because it doesn't exist. Only today does. Only now does. The truth is simple. You either act or you stay stuck. Action is not glamorous. It's quiet. It's repetitive. It's the moment you choose to get up when comfort begs you to stay down. It's the decision to keep going when no one's watching, when no one when no one cares but you do. That's where transformation happens, not in the spotlight, but in the silence. Your intentions mean nothing until they are translated into behavior. You can't think your way to confidence. You build it by keeping your promises to yourself. You can't wish your way to discipline. You earn it through repetition, through the daily choice to act, especially when you don't feel like it. Motivation is fragile. It fades, but discipline builds identity. So, here's the truth. Every action you take casts a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. Every time you follow through, you're saying to yourself, I am reliable. I am consistent. I am growing. Every time you break your own word, you send the opposite message. I can't trust myself. Your mind keeps score. Your body remembers. And that's why progress is emotional. It's not just about what you do, it's about what you believe you can do. And belief is built through evidence. Evidence you create with your actions. You want to know the difference between people who grow and people who stay the same. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not even intelligence. It's consistency. Successful people don't always feel ready. They simply decide to begin. They don't wait for motivation. They create momentum. They don't rely on perfect conditions. They work with what they have. Because action doesn't require perfection. It requires commitment. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting to feel prepared. Stop waiting for someone to push you. Because the truth is, nobody's coming to do it for you. This is your life, your race, your responsibility. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you teach your brain that delay is acceptable. But every time you act now, you rewire your mind for progress. You begin to trust yourself again, and that trust, that's where power comes from. Action is honesty in motion. It's proof that you mean what you say. If you want to change your life, don't start with a new plan. Start with a new standard. Stop promising yourself more. Start delivering more. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to explain it. Just do it quietly, consistently, day after day. Because discipline is not about intensity, it's about continuity. It's what you repeat when nobody's watching. It's what you stick to when it's no longer exciting. Think about this. You've already waited long enough. You've already made enough excuses. You've already seen what happens when you delay your dreams. Now it's time to see what happens when you go all in. When you stop dipping your toes and finally step into the water. When you stop saying "I'll try" and start saying "I will," because effort doesn't lie. If you're not seeing results, you're either not consistent or not honest about your effort. But the good news is you can change that right now. Action doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Small actions compound. Tiny steps build massive shifts. Clean your space. Write one page. Walk 10 minutes. Plan your next morning. Speak one truth you've been avoiding. Each of these small wins is a deposit in your confidence account, and over time it grows into unstoppable belief. You can read all the books. You can listen to all the advice. But none of it matters if you don't apply it. Information doesn't change you. Application does. That's the difference between knowing and becoming. Knowing is comfortable, becoming is uncomfortable. But it's the only way to evolve. Don't just absorb wisdom. Embody it. Live it. Let your choices reflect what you've learned. That's what makes you powerful. And when you slip, because you will, don't start over. Just start again. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Every comeback is stronger than the last setback. Every small action builds resilience. When you move through resistance, you build inner strength, and strength built through effort never fades. So here's your reminder. Talk less, move more. Prove it with your actions. Wake up earlier. Follow through. Keep your word. Be your own proof. Because when your actions align with your words, you no longer need motivation. You become it. The world doesn't need another dreamer. It needs another doer. Someone who lives their truth. Someone who acts with integrity. Someone who understands that difference between one day and day one is just a decision. So make that decision. Now, not tomorrow, not later. Now, do one thing that proves you mean it. Because in the end, your results won't come from what you say. They'll come from what you do, over and over again, until action becomes identity. You won't need to convince anyone. You'll become the evidence. You look back one day and realize you didn't change your life in a single moment. You changed it in 1,000 small ones. Moments where you acted instead of waiting. That's how you become your best self. Not through talk, through truth, through action, through discipline repeated until it becomes who you are. Take a deep breath. You've made it to the end of this journey. But really, this isn't the end at all. It's the beginning. Because from this moment forward, everything you've heard only matters if you live it. Change doesn't happen in one chapter. It happens in small, quiet choices that you make every single day. When no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when it's just you and the voice inside whispering, keep going. You've learned how to take ownership. You've learned how to stand up and do what needs to be done. You've learned how to clean up your habits, how to use your time, how to face your truth, and how to act with integrity, even when it's hard. But none of that means anything until you decide that this time is different, until you stop saying someday and start saying today. Because your potential doesn't wait, your future doesn't wait. And deep down, you know you've waited long enough. There's a version of you who's stronger than your fears, wiser than your doubts, calmer than your chaos, and closer than you think. That version is not out there waiting to be found. It's already inside you, waiting to be chosen. You don't have to chase perfection. You just have to stay consistent. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to move forward while you're still scared. Because growth doesn't mean you stop feeling fear. It means you stop letting fear make the decisions. From this point on, let your life become your proof. Let your actions speak louder than your intentions ever could. Wake up with purpose, speak with honesty, work with focus, and rest with peace. Be someone who shows up, not for applause, not for validation, but because it's who you are now. And when you fail, because you will, don't hide from it. Learn from it. Rise again. Every comeback you make builds the foundation of a stronger self, because success isn't built on perfection. It's built on persistence. This book, this message was never about chasing success like it's a finish line. It's about becoming the kind of person who builds success naturally through awareness and action. You don't have to rush. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. All you have to do is choose progress over comfort every single day. That's the quiet secret of extraordinary lives. They are built one small, consistent decision at a time. So as you close your eyes tonight, ask yourself one question. What kind of life am I creating with my choices? Because whether you realize it or not, your actions today are shaping your tomorrow. Your habits are carving your identity. Your mindset is writing your story. And no matter where you are right now, you can always turn the page. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need to wait for everything to make sense. You just need to begin right here, right now, with whatever you have, wherever you are. Because the best version of you isn't waiting for a miracle. It's waiting for a decision. Your decision. So they decide that you will no longer live on autopilot. Decide that you will no longer let fear lead. Decide that you will no longer wait for the world to change, because you are the one who changes first. You are the start. You are the shift. You are the proof that success doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. Thank you for being here, for listening, for staying, for caring enough to grow. If this message spoke to you, don't let it end here. Carry it into your next morning. Let it guide your next choice. And if you found peace, clarity, or strength in these words, share it with someone else who needs to hear it too. Because the world changes one awakened person at a time. And maybe today that person is you. Success starts with you. Not someday, not later, not when life gets easier. Now, always now. Thank you for listening to Success Starts With You. How to become your best self. If you found value here, follow the channel Sleep Success Audiobook for more calm, powerful journeys of growth and self-mastery, because your mind becomes what you feed it, and this is where transformation begins.